the topic today we are going to discuss standards of measurement. What is the meaning of standards of measurement? So standard means which is nothing but a physical representation of a unit of measurement. Standard means which is nothing but it is a physical embodiment of a unit of measurement. That is what called as an standard. So which is like a physical property of other equipment by comparison. That is the purpose they are going standard. So in two lines we can say standard which is nothing but a body, that is some society which is we used to call it as an embodiment of a unit of measurement which is called it as a standard. There are four different types of standards we have: international, primary, secondary and working standards. So how they are using? What is the purpose of international standard, then primary standard, secondary, then working standard, and how they are using? Actually, international standard which is nothing but which is accepted by the international, and they are representing some of the units, some of the measurement which are very close to the maximum possible accuracy attainable by the current technology. And the international standards are checked, evaluated regularly against an absolute measurement, and which are maintained at the International Bureau of Weights and Measure and are not available to the ordinary user. So the standards, international standards examples: ISO 9001, ISO 9000, IEC standards. What is ISO 9001? And which is nothing but testing and calibration standard, and which is used for checking the quality. In previous year we have ISO 9000, but present market the international standard was ISO 9001. What is this ISO? That is International Standard Organization, and which was derived through all over the world. That is in the particular society they are having actually 20 to 24 countries were participated, and they have derived the quality checking. And next one is about IEC. IEC mainly focused on electronic equipments testing. We have those standards are called as an IEC standard, and these are not available for the common user. This is only for the purpose of calibration or comparison. The next standard is called primary standard. So primary standard, they are also in high accuracy, and they are maintained by national standards and laboratory in different parts of the world, and they are represent the fundamental unit and the derived electrical mechanical unit, and they are calibrated by the National Physical Laboratory. In India, the National Physical Laboratory, which is situated in New Delhi for the calibration purpose, and they are also not available outside the national. The main function of this primary is verification and calibration of secondary standard. That is the main purpose of primary standard they are going. So which are represent not only fundamental, not only derived, it represent both the fundamental and the derived units. The next unit is called as a secondary standard. Secondary standard or the basic reference standard, and they are used in industrial measurement laboratory. So the main responsibility of this is the maintenance and the calibration of a particular industry alone. They used to call it as a de facto standard, DEFACTO. So this is the common term they have used, de facto. De facto standard is used for different company, different purpose. Like when you are going EcoCOA, they have their own standard. When you are going testing and calibration of MSME, they have their own standard. So likewise, for industry point of view, each one has its own particular industry involved. So these standards are checked locally against reference standard, and the secondary standards are normally sent periodically to the National Standard Laboratory for calibration. Then only this particular standards are valid. So the industry standard, the people involving those standards, they have to get a periodical checking from the primary standard. Then only it is valid. So they are verifying through primary standard along with the certification. That is how the secondary standards are derived. So the secondary standards are done through your industrial purpose. Next one is called working standard. Working standard, it is a majority tool of measurement laboratory, and these are used to check and calibrate only general laboratory instrument for their accuracy and the performance. So whatever the people we used to have in the laboratory point, that is what working standard they used to call. Example, manufacturer of precision resistance. What we are doing for resistance measurement, we used to go Wheatstone bridge and Kelvin's double bridge. So these are all the setups we are having in the laboratory point of view. So using those laboratory kit, we are just calculating the resistance value, or else we have in the laboratory, we have a multimeter. Using that multimeter, we are just going to check the value of the resistance. So that is how the people used to go for working standards. So these working standards verify the measurement setup performance within the limits of accuracy and that they are specified. So the working standards are calibrated through your secondary standard. So there is a structure. The first one is your international standard, then you have a primary standard, then you have a secondary standard, then you have a working standard. That was the alignment architecture, that was the alignment structure for the standard purpose. So they can't go as it like only for quality, they have to go international, then national they have to go for primary, then industry they have to go for secondary, and the laboratory instruments they have to go for working. So this is how the structures they have framed it for the standard purpose. And we have so many industries, like we have an industry presently. I had an opportunity to see top 50 industries, top 50 companies which was listed in the internet, but no Indian companies were there. In that they have told, they have given the explanation which is stated that there is no innovation. That is what they have stated. The 50 industries are like all the like companies or Dell. Then you have whatever the mobile you are purchasing, those things all comes. Apple, these are all the things where come, but no Indian industry which was stated. Intel, then so many companies they have listed. So if you are interested, you please go on into the internet and just have a look. Then only you can able to understand what the current situation. Okay, so that is very, very important. So while you are looking the quality checking and the calibration checking, we have an industry. We have an calibration standard industry in New Delhi, that is called it as in ICMR, that is then CSA, sorry, not ICMR, it is in CSIR, which is a National Physical Laboratory of India, which was situated in New Delhi. That is what the primary standard which we have. Using that, they are just verifying the calibration. And while you are doing that calibration checking, it not only that 1 year, it is for 6 months. Not only for 6 months, even some of the quality checking they are doing 2 to 3 months. In some of the food and all, they are checking even 2 days, 1 day. in that way they have an standard which was calibrating the quality of the instruments. Not only instruments, the quality of the food, quality of the domestic items, quality of whatever the components we are doing our day-to-day life. So that is how they are calculating all the standards.